The other day, I was listening to Sloan Bella. Sloan Bella is a psychic medium, and she has a channel on YouTube, and she often channels celebrities. And she was channeling Amy Winehouse. And she started to say that Amy Winehouse had reincarnated from another singer. And she didn't say who the singer was. So as I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, who could this possibly be? The name Billie Holiday came to my mind. Now, I don't know if she's her reincarnation. I can't say that because I didn't do the reading. Sloan did it. But it made me think of Billie Holiday, the things that she said about the person that Amy was in that past life. So today, I decided when I got up, I said, you know what? I'm going to pull cards on Billie Holiday because I do something called an ancestor reading. And I wanted to see if I could see what she wanted to say, basically, for this particular ancestor reading. So there's a lot of controversy around her life. She was said to have gotten into a lot of trouble. So I wanted to see what the cards would tell us about the late, great Lady Day. My name is QueenAusetHeru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to anyone and everyone who might like it too. Please drop us a positive comment in the comment section and let me know, have you ever heard the song You've Changed by Billie Holiday? That song reminds me of a suitor that I just dumped. I just dumped this suitor in October, and that song reminds me so much of that suitor. And it was one of Billie's most famous songs. I love that song. If you want to get any readings done or some Ask an Aquarius merchandise or send me a gift, check out underneath this video. Also, I will give you a link to every deck I'm getting ready to use. A link or the name of the deck if it's out of print. So let's turn these around. I asked Billie to just talk about her life. Give us cards that just talked about her life and what was going on. Because it said that she had a very difficult life. And she's telling us that from the day she came in the big house, I think she might have, I don't know if she was born in a hospital because I can't tell what this building is, but this is the day she was born. She was born in Philadelphia. And it looks like to me that from day one, things were rocky. This is the Tower card. So if you're born under the Tower, you're born under chaos. You're born under disruptions. You're born under issues. I remember them saying that Billie's mother was a teenager and so was her father. And apparently her dad wasn't around. And they went through a lot of poverty. And it was said that she was assaulted, SA, twice before she was 14 years old. So she definitely did grow into, based on this card and what I've read, she definitely did grow up in this kind of like dysfunctional kind of energy. And I believe that other people helped in the family, but we're getting a very unstable vibration from this particular card. So she definitely came up really rough. The Mother of Pentacles. Her mother was not very supportive. Remember, I said she had a teenage mother, and that's not to say that all teenage mothers are unsupportive, but unfortunately she had one that was. She had a mother who didn't make enough money. The Mother of Coins doesn't make enough. She doesn't save enough. If she does make money, she's not a very attentive mother. No wonder she got into a lot of bad situations and trouble. At one point Billie was working as a lady of the night, and she also ended up with a really bad drug problem. I mean, really bad. So it makes sense to me that if you come from a really difficult upbringing, you have an absent mother and father because the dad wasn't there either. You're running around, basically you're home alone. You're living in one of the most racist time periods. I mean, Race in the United States is still a problem, even though people try to pretend like it's not. It's still a big problem. But when Billie was young and when she was performing and all that kind of stuff, there was a lot of issues going on with this. If you ever look at her life story, you'll see what I'm talking about. But there was a lot of problems with that. So she grew up under this kind of vibration. But there was someone, this is either a grandmother or an auntie or someone who offered her solace, who offered her love, who offered her a kind word. It wasn't her own mother, but there was a woman who did offer that vibration. And that is how she was able to make it through that horrific childhood. She just wanted to be loved. That's all she wanted. She just wanted love. She got it from that one person, but she didn't get it from the other two parents. And as she got older, she didn't get it from her relationships either. They talked about her relationships with men being exploitative, which you could understand if she was a lady of the night. There's usually a lot of exploitation that comes along with that. There's also exploitation from the music business, which we'll see later. So it says here that all she really wanted was love. And her voice, if you listen to her songs, you can hear that. Her songs sound like somebody begging for love. That's what it sounds like to me. Somebody begging to be loved, begging to be seen, begging to be appreciated. That's what I get from her voice when she sings. She also has here the Ace of Swords reversed. So this is a card. I don't know what happened with her and having children, but when the Ace of Swords is reversed, this is a card where you typically have issues with that. Either your insides just won't do it, or you might have had a kid and lost it or gave it away. There's some kind of problem with this card as far as that's concerned. It also was hard for her to start over. I feel like she tried on more than one occasion to get clean. I feel like she tried to save her own life, which this is ultimately what killed her. She died at 44 years old. She was 2 years younger than I am right now. Way too young to be passing over. So it says here that she did try to get herself together, but it was too late. Her body was already, shook from hard drinking and opiates and heroin. I mean, she was really getting it in and was overdoing it. It's one thing to recreationally use, even that can tear your body down, but she was not recreationally using, she was indulging to the extreme. That's what she's telling us here. Now, they also told us, let me see something. She has some really serious issues with the United States government. Whew. And I wanted to see, goodness gracious, how bad was bad, and it's looking really bad. The United States government got involved because Billie did a song called Strange Fruit. Strange Fruit is another one of her most famous songs. This is a hauntingly sad song about African Americans being lynched in the United States. And in the United States, some people, try to pretend like enslavement didn't happen. Jim Crow didn't happen. Prejudice doesn't happen. Racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, all these things just don't happen. These people are just sensitive. But it does happen. And when you look at the historical records, when you really look and do the research, it's still going on in different ways. So Strange Fruit was about all these African Americans who were being murdered at an alarming rate during the time that Billie was alive. And she actually had a chance to see black men or black people, I don't know if they're men or women, who had been lynched. They were hanging from trees. And she's had an opportunity to come across this, of course, because remember, she's a singer and she's traveling around. And somebody wrote this song, and then Billie was like, oh, this is perfect. So she started to sing this song. The United States got mad at her for singing this song because, again, the United States does not want people to know how they really treat people of color. They really don't want people to know. Even now to this day, they're doing measures to hide the history from the history books. So Billie did strange fruit. The United States got upset about it. They found out she had a drug problem and they used it against her. This is what happens with governments. If they find out you got a drug problem or you got a tax evasion or you got some kind of problem that they can use against you, that's what they're going to do. So because Billie refused to sing to stop singing this song, and they tried to get her to stop singing it legally, they tried to get the radio stations not to play it, but it was a famous song, and many African Americans really took to the song and still do. But a lot of people who are guilty of lynching people did not want that information out there. So they started to harass her. They started to arrest her all the time. I mean, naturally, if she didn't have anything on her or she wasn't using, they could still plant something on you because even on her deathbed, it's believed they planted heroin in her hospital room. But I'll tell you guys about that part later. So she's telling me, yes, the United States government tried to crush her. This is the Three of Swords reversed. This is the saddest card in the deck. Look at that, and it's reversed. So it's the worst. Look at the bottles hanging from the tree. Remember what I said about strange fruit? Strange fruit is the black men and women and children who were being lynched and hung from trees. So she's telling us that shit broke her heart. You know, anybody who hears about it or goes to the I think it's called Blacks on Wax. And it's a museum in Maryland. And they have one room that is called the lynching room. I visited many years ago. And you can see all these images, pictures, all kinds of stuff of people of color who had been lynched. So she's saying that this was breaking her heart, the way people were being treated, her people were being treated. The United States government was trying to crush her because she was speaking out against it. But she never lost her hope. She says she always had hope for a better tomorrow. And this is interesting to me because a lot of times when you read narratives from the enslaved Africans during enslavement, they said the same thing. They had hope for the next generation. Look at the hands. This is the mom or grandmom, and these little hands in here are the child's. So how our ancestors made it through was by keeping the faith, keeping hope that the next generation or the next one or the next one or the next one would not have to be in the same situation. And I, as an African American, can say I'm not in the same situation that my ancestors were in, but there's still a lot of prejudice. There's still a lot of discrimination. It's not as good as it should be, but it's definitely better than it was way, way, way back when. So she's saying that she kept hope that one day things would be better, not so much for herself, but for those who came behind her. And she's saying that because she was wild, this is the daughter of sticks, the daughter of swords, page of swords. So because she was doing what she was doing, and because she was wild, and because her mouth was crass, you know, because she wouldn't do what they told her to do, the United States, under what is now the DEA, the DEA had another name before, but whoever was in charge of DEA had it out for her, and they constantly harassed and tortured her to the point that when she was on her deathbed, they came and handcuffed her to the bed, put her under arrest, searched her room, and found heroin. Now, mind you, Billie was in the hospital dying and was asking people to bring her heroin. So you think if she had heroin in the room, she would have been going through the DTs, laying in the bed crying and shaking? They planted that heroin. Period, point blank. Somebody planted that heroin. Maybe they weren't all on it, or maybe they were, but somebody did it. Because if she had it, she would have used it. I'm pretty sure of that. Because even Frank Sinatra said when he went to see her, she asked him for some heroin. Her and Frank Sinatra were friends. And he couldn't get it, or, you know, I don't know if he even had contacts. I don't know. But he couldn't get it. And so she wouldn't have been asking for it if it was already hidden in the room. So come on. So they were just fucking with her and making it hard for her to move forward. Six of Sticks is reversed. It made it hard for her to move forward. And she was riding high for a long time, but they toppled her, along with the drug abuse, the alcoholism, dealing with fucked up men, having emotional abuse problems. And then on top of it, the entire government or an entire fraction of the government is coming at you and trying to railroad you and put you in jail every chance they get. So it toppled her. All of that heavy weight came down on her. She had a lot of strength though. Lady Day was not no bitch. She wasn't. She had a lot of emotional and mental strength, and she tamed millions of people by just singing songs. Just singing beautiful, beautiful songs. All right. Let me see. Let's look at our next one. It would be these three. Let's take a look at these three. So I asked her what else she wanted to tell us about her life and about moving forward for us. She said that music was her first love. She was a singer. She loved music. She loved songs. She loved the sound. She loved the craft of it. Billie wasn't just like nowadays we have entertainers, but they're not the same. The entertainers we had back then, these people were pioneers. These people could sing too. They wasn't using auto tune. Okay, they wasn't using auto tune. They were, wasn't, no, they had talent back then. Once upon a time, you had to have talent, not just star power. Now, if you have star power, you don't even need talent. And that's backwards to me. But back in her day, you had to have it, and she had it in spades. And she was creative. Frank Sinatra said that she even helped him with his sound and didn't ask him for a dime of money for it. She was just good with that. She was a musical genius in that way. And she was good with making her voice do what she wanted it to do. It was very raspy, and it got raspier as she got older. But you can hear that she still has this beautiful style, this sound that nobody else had. She said that she was a magician, and she told us to conjure as well. And what she means by that is that she was somebody who could create. Remember I said manifest? She could manifest these songs. She could create what she wanted. She wasn't even bad at manifesting money. She just spent it all. She spent it all on heroin. I mean, heroin has got to be inexpensive. The habits that she had, from what I understand, are expensive. I've never had any of these habits, thank goddess, but they're expensive habits. So she was able to manifest. I think at one point they said she might have been a millionaire. And when she died, she had 70 cents to her name. And somebody said she had some cash on her, but that was it. So basically, she was able to manifest and able to dazzle and woo crowds and the whole nine. But the drugs had her. They had her. And all that grief and all the stuff that was going on, it had her. She said that she was a leader. She was when you see her holding court with all the guys, her guy band, it's an all male band that I see her with. Maybe it's not always, but in a lot of the pictures it is. And she was the leader. She held court, and she told them which direction to go in. And she said that this is a problem that we have nowadays. She said that the government, like the government that was messing with her, she found them to not be effective leaders. And she said we still have the same problem today. And I agree with her. Many of us, not all of us, but many of us are in towns, countries, cities where our leadership is ass. Okay? We had, oh my God, I'm not even going to get started on the presidents that we've had in the United States. But you all know that we've had leaders of all levels of government who have been ineffective and not for the people. And she's saying that that is something that we need. We need people in office. We need people to run. We need people to go up there that are for the people, that are not going to be, chasing some kind of an agenda or trying to get rich. People that are going to be for the people. And that's what democracy is actually supposed to be. And they claim that it is. But most of us know that oftentimes, it falls short. Now, these are the things that she recommended for us. I thought this was interesting what she had to say. She said that we should take better care of nature. Interesting. Coexist, gather, limit your waste, get into nature. She said that, and a lot of people say this, we're destroying the planet. And not only are we destroying the planet, we're not in tune with the planet. Our ancestors were very in tune with the planet. They could tell what was happening just by how the birds moved. We need to have more of that. We have great technology now. So we have the ability to be more in tune with nature, but we're not. So we need to clean it up. We need to look at our waste. We need to look at our carbon footprints. I mean, and we're all guilty of this. It's not just one person. Look at the polar ice caps. You know, it's affecting the weather. Our behavior is affecting the earth, is affecting the weather, is affecting our future. And she's saying that we need to take a really good look at that. Billie was a very spiritual person. She sang in the church when she was younger, and she did believe in God. So now on the other side, she's letting us know that we need to take better care of the earth. Enjoy new beginnings. She said that we need to enjoy life, celebrate, socialize, and make changes. And this change goes along with climate, you know, the earth and all that kind of stuff, and the leadership that she talked about before. And she's saying that we need to celebrate and enjoy our lives and also come together as much as possible and work together to make changes that are better for us all. This is why being prejudiced doesn't work. And this is something that she dealt with a lot. But this is why it doesn't work, because it stops all of us from being able to work together and make changes that affect us all. She also says she wished that she had taken better care of her body, and she's telling us to take better care of ours. She's talking about natural therapies and balance. She's talking about eating better, eating right, not putting impurities into yourself. She's saying that when she was here, she didn't do much of this. She ate what she wanted, she drank what she wanted, she used hard drugs, but she's saying take care of your health, because that's why she died at 44, was because she had not taken care of her health and her body. So she's encouraging us to use natural therapy, stay away from pharmaceuticals and drugs and stuff like that whenever possible. You know, keep the body balanced, use spiritual practices, breathing, yoga, exercise. I find it very interesting that she said these things, because these are a lot of things that if she had been into, like she just said, she would have lived. she would have lived a lot longer. Then I asked her about her romantic relationships. Billie is famous for having relationships and issues with those relationships. So I'm going to tell you some of the relationship issues that she mentioned. She said that that is true. She said that she did have problems with her relationships. She said that there was often interference. The interference card, especially when it comes up reversed, this card is telling us that she had problems with other men, other women, things like that. So women trying to talk to her man, for example, or her cheating with other men, other women, things along those lines, you know? So there was interferences coming from third parties is what she's talking about. So she never really felt like she really had a commitment or was committed, because it seemed like every time she got with somebody, next thing you know, one of them was off with somebody else. She feels like that the men who were with her for money. She doesn't really feel like they were with her for who she was. And I agree with her, because I know that they said the last husband that she had, or the last long-term relationship she had, took a great deal of money from her. So think about it. It was that time period. She's a millionaire. They're singers, and they're going around performing, and you know, they're doing drugs, getting drunk. There's got to be a great scene. And it seems to me like men would target her for money. But remember, Billie wants love. So she was willing to trade the money, the luxuries for the love, but she never got the love. And that's the thing about when you trade money for love, oftentimes you don't get what you want. Because if you got to pay someone to love you or to be around you, they don't really like you like that. They're just using you. And that was the bad part. Remember that love? Right there. She died still wanting that true love. And she's telling us that she never found it. She was optimistic about it. She kept trying. One relationship didn't work out. She moved on to the next one. Next one didn't work out. She moved on to the next one. Problem with this is that the problems that were present were never healed. There's a codependency vibration here. So they would be hooked on her money. She would be hooked on trying to get love from them. they're not really capable of giving her love, and she's really not even capable of giving herself love. You see? So this whole big web of deception and anger and hurt and bitterness was what kept her from finding true love. But she remained optimistic until the last day. Until the last very moment, she remained optimistic. If you listen to her songs, you would not get that impression. Her songs are sad, and they're mostly sad songs about heartbreak because she kept wanting love. But like I always tell people, if you are hurting, if you are in this kind of codependent kind of space, a broken emotional space, finding true love is so hard. I always tell people that. People be like, well, you can find. No, you can't. It's impossible. And if you do find somebody that truly loves you, oftentimes you'll destroy it with your own issues. All right. Now I'm going to ask Billie to come forward and sit in the spirit throne. And we're going to see what else she wants to tell us. She said that she really loved entertainment. And if you look at her pictures, she's always traveling with a bunch of guys like this. She traveled with an all-white band. She had black bands. She had all kinds of different bands and groups that she traveled with. And she's saying that she loved it. Remember the music card? She loved traveling. She loved the people. She loved doing those things. The only problem is that she said the entertainment business is exploitative. The cards told us that, and you can really see some more cards about this, that she had a really hard time in that way. Because remember, she was a millionaire at one point, but she also got a lot of money stolen, not just from lovers, but from people she was working with, record companies and things like that. So she's telling us in this card right here that as much as she loved entertainment and she loved the crowds and she loved the people, she was being taken advantage of. And if you look back at her story, you will also see documentation of that too. She did everything she could to survive. She says she was a survivor. Think about that song from Beyonce. That's her vibration. She was a survivor, regardless of what she didn't have, the poverty, the drugs, whatever. She went from having it all. She went from having nothing to having it all as a millionaire, back to having nothing again. And she said her main focus throughout it all was to survive. She's telling us there were many hardships. Okay, many hardships. And we've talked about a lot of them today, and they keep coming up in the cards. But she's talking about poverty. She's talking about problems with love. Look at her hand on her heart and her hand on her head. Lots of problems with love. She's talking about problems, like I said, in her early life. She's talking about disconnection. The heart, she wanted to be loved, and she didn't get that love. Here we go. And vanity. She said that this is her advice for us. She said, be you. She said the greatest act of love is to be yourself. She said one of the biggest problems, and I see this too, and I was very happy to hear her speak on it. She said one of the biggest problems in the world today, and has been a problem for quite some time, is people mimicking other people, being jealous of other people, copying other people's style, copying other people's way of doing things. Well, if you worship this way, I gotta worship that way. And she said, no, don't do monkey see, monkey do. Be you. If your neighbor dyes their hair blue and starts going to the Buddhist temple, you don't necessarily have to follow that person, is what she's saying. Be yourself. See what's inside of you. What does your intuition like? What does your intuition want to do? This is called being authentic. This is called being genuine. It's called being original. So she's saying, be yourself. Create what you want to see in the world and stop following behind other people. I feel her on this because I see this all the time. Like right now, there's a cup. I forgot what the cup is called, but it's a cup and it's all over social media. Everybody has to have this cup. And it's like, for what? Because some influencer said this was a great cup, and it probably is a great cup. But why do we all have to pay for this cup? I don't even need a cup. I can use the mugs I have, and many of us can. So it's like, when I was a kid, it was Tickle Me Elmo. Everybody had to get a Tickle Me Elmo. Before that, it was the Cabbage Patch Kids. I remember my mother standing in line to fight to get me a Cabbage Patch Kid. So she's saying, no, don't follow the crowd. Be you. And don't be vain. She said a lot of people don't care about other people. This has always been the case. Sometimes we're more compassionate than others as a species. And she's asking us not to be vain, not to be self-centered. Yes, she liked looking good. Yes, she thinks we all should look good. But don't be vain and self-centered and forget about your fellow man. Okay? So this is our message from Billie Holiday. Please let me know in the comment section what you think, what you know about her. Please tell me more. I don't know a lot about her, just bits and pieces. And check out this awesome video that's right now on your screen, because if you like this video, I think you'll like more of my videos. And please come back soon because I have a lot more to say. See you later.